anything else written, but I say this is the week. This is the end of November. It's actually December 2nd, 2011. You know, we're counting down to the end of 2012. Or to the end of, I shouldn't say end of 2012, 2011, I should say. The end is near, folks. The end is near. What do I mean by that? Well, if you've been paying any attention at all to what's been going on in the world, then I guess, you know, you could say that the dark ages are starting to creep up on us here. History always repeats itself. We're entering into a very, very potentially dark and dangerous cycle here. And just this week alone, since we came back from our nice Thanksgiving slumber, the Federal Reserve has printed $15 trillion and is sending it out to all the international banks as well as our own domestic banks. How good is that going to be when that money starts circulating? Have you guys ever heard of super hyperinflation? Well, that basically means that, one of these is going to be about worth like that. Okay? Just as a, I don't want to do that, but shouldn't burn money. But that's about all it's going to be worth after it's all said and done. I'm just going to throw that one in here. But yeah, I mean, after they're done printing our money to that extent, that's what it's going to be worth. It's going to be worth nothing. You might as well burn it in your fireplace, man. I know that's an extreme example, but that's still worth $1 today, even though with the printing of money and the inflation and everything else, it's probably worth about 70 cents, maybe 50 cents right now. It's about worth half of what it was a year ago. You ever notice that you go to the store now and you buy coffee, and 5 years ago you bought coffee, it was like $3, and now it's like $6. Everything is doubled in price. Your turkey dinner, what you fixed for your family, normally would cost you about $120, cost you $220 this year. Is any of this starting to sound familiar? Well, you know, I'm sure we could all sum this all up. This is going to be a very important week because we need to understand what is actually happening globally. And what's actually happening globally is simple. The banksters are basically collapsing the euro. The euro is going down the wayside of, the rupee and various other currencies, or the sterling, several of the other currencies that no longer exist. The euro will cease to be more here soon. And that's not conspiracy, that's fact. Europe is falling apart. Once it falls apart, we're going to fall apart with it. We're all tied together. And that's exactly what these evil SOBs overseas and even here want. So they can set up their, socialist, communist utopia of the New World Order. Let me tell you, that is a scary thing. We are that close. Okay, and I guess this 2012 cycle is something that we're going to have to really examine here. But as I have said on this show over and over again, this is my opinion, and it's also the truth. I give you a dose of both. It's like the Glenn Beck show, except without the price. I'm not going to go into it too much. I'm going to let the experts explain this a little more to you. I'm going to let guys like Glenn Beck and, guys like that explain it. Because, you know what? I am getting weary of explaining this. Okay? I mean, these people are trying to collapse our system, our way of life. My question to you guys is how does that sit with you? Do you want somebody telling us how to practice our religion, how to speak, how to talk, how to eat, how to spend our money? No, that's not what America is about. And that comes down to a whole different topic, which I'm going to get into because, we're going to also get into some scripture here. Pastor Jim's going to give us a message about leadership. And I'm going to say how important it is right now that we need to stand up and be leaders. Now, I'm going to say I'm not the best example in the world sometimes at things, especially when it comes to walking in the light. Sometimes I fall into the darkness. We all struggle with that. That is one thing that I have to work on is, when it comes down to doing the right thing, I need to do the right thing. Nothing else, nothing more. And that's what I feel I'm doing by putting on this show. Yeah, we do some skits that are kind of controversial, a little wacky, a little funny. We're poking fun at the other side. That's what satire is. That's what comedy is. We do the wrong thing right. We provide you with music. We provide you with news and entertainment and information. We're going to step it up a few notches near the end of the season. We've only got about 4 or 5 more episodes and the season will be over. And then we'll be starting a new season, new projects. But I'm telling you, this time is scary. It is something that I have never experienced in my entire life. And there's going to be several different topics I'm going to touch on during this little broadcast here. I don't think we're going to have we're not going to have Glenn Beck this week. She's going to be me talking to you. One of the biggest things I want to talk about is why this country is failing right now. Why is it failing? Okay, there's stuff going on spiritually, and there's stuff going on physically with the country. There's 2 elements at play here. And then a third one, which is basically a political element, but that could be tied into the other 2. Spiritually, what's going on is our country has become bankrupt. It has become morally corrupted and spiritually corrupted. In other words, the devil has infiltrated every aspect of our media, our government, our churches, our households, through all kinds of different medias. Through music, through literature, through the media, through politics, through phone calls, through your friends, whatever. There is a foul spirit infiltrating the country at this time. And you can call me a whack job, anything you want, but it's the truth. The other thing is this country has gone to the wayside of progressivism, and we've gotten away from our roots. Now, not everybody would agree with the Constitution, but it is our founding document, and it is basically written in the Constitution, in the preamble, in the Declaration of Independence, that only God-fearing men and women will be able to sustain their own government. If we become a nation of idiots like what we've become, then the government ends up controlling us as opposed to the other way around. In other words, it becomes a demonic, plagued system. Now, let me explain this a little more thoroughly. Our founders were believers. All of you who sit there and sit on the computer and go, oh, well, no, they're not. They're atheists. You're full of crap. Some of them were atheists. Yes, you're right. Yeah, there were a couple of atheists in there, a couple of Jewish guys in there. There was probably a couple of different denominations of people that were founders that signed the Declaration of Independence. But George Washington, the father of the country, and various other guys, they were not atheists. They had a strong faith in God and Jesus Christ. And if you want proof, go look it up on the internet. Look at some of their speeches. Look at the Thanksgiving address that President Washington gave. If you want proof, that's it right there. talks about God. You know what President Obama did for Thanksgiving address? He thanked the Native Americans and, what was it? The Eskimos. And then he was talking about how we could be good global citizens. This guy is a nightmare. I don't know where we picked this guy up, but apparently this is where my point comes in to what we were talking about earlier about, the moral degradation of the country. All right, we have through 50 to 20 years of this liberal nonsense and progressive nonsense and hippie commie stupidity and drug-addled retardation have created a generation of useless numpties that can't do anything because they have no life skills. They always got a trophy for something when they didn't perform. They're always me. I call it the me generation. They're a bunch of entitlement babies. That's what they are. Bunch of spoiled little rancorous, coiffed morons, all right? That they're entitled to a good job. When they have to earn that job, they're entitled to an education. No, you're not. You're not, okay? I'm going to tell you flat out, you morons, you're not entitled to that stuff. You have to earn it. You have to prove to everybody else in the world that you want to do this, and then somebody will give you the opportunity to do it, or you have to learn how to do it. No one's going to give you anything for free. I'm sick of these people sitting there, I want my free handouts and my gummy bears and lollipops. It doesn't work that way. This country was set up not to be a welfare state. It was set up for the individual to succeed or fail. It's up to you which way you want to go. If you want to be a numpty your whole life and fail miserably at everything, that's your choice. If you want to be a drug addict, loser, scumbag, that's your choice. If you want to be a God-fearing man and woman that works for a living and can make a miracle of success, even if it's just that big or that big, that's your choice too, as long as you're doing the right thing. But you see, the right thing has become the wrong thing. The wrong thing has become the right thing. What do I mean by that? It's okay now to get 15 abortions and smoke pot in your living room and get drunk and go to work. But it's not okay to go to church or read the Bible or say Merry Christmas to somebody in public or actually go work for a living and pay your taxes. No, that's not okay. It's not okay to believe in the Constitution and our founding fathers and something bigger than yourself. No, that's not okay. No, I'm gonna get school you guys. It is okay to believe in those things. It's okay to believe in God. It's okay to work for a living. It's okay to do the right thing. It's okay to be charitable and honest. It's okay to do those things. It is not okay to commit adultery, blasphemy, or any of those things that are mentioned in the Ten Commandments and basically in the preambles of our own documents of this country. It's not okay to do that. It's not okay to lie to the American people, to steal from the American people, to commit treason against the American people. Am I making myself perfectly clear? Maybe not to some of those of you who are still huffing LSD and whippets, but for the rest of us that live in sane land and common sense, we're all getting a little freaked out here. Okay? Let's talk about the Occupy Wall Street morons, okay, for just a minute. And I refer to them as morons because they have put themselves in that statute, and instead of doing something productive, like put a name tag on and a hairnet and go to work somewhere, or put some overalls on and grab a sledgehammer and go to work somewhere, they instead insist on being idiots and protesting in the streets and shutting our system down because they went to free gummy bears and lollipops from President Obama, who I think is the Antichrist, and that is my opinion. Man, I'm on a rant today. Don't even get me started. And 2 weeks of this nonsense is enough. I mean, all right, let me tell you a story. Let me tell you a story briefly here. I mean, this is going to go on. This is going to go on. I was driving to Thanksgiving dinner. And we drove by Colfax and Broadway here in Colorado. And I look over there. And you know how the media is blowing this whole Occupy thing into this giant, oh yeah, they're the 99%. You know how many people I saw sitting in the park acting like idiots, defecating on the ground? 20 out of a city of a couple million. All right, you're 0.001%. You're like deadly bacteria in the water supply, okay? That's about it. Yeah, you'll breed and multiply, but if you pour enough chlorine in there, you get my drift. You guys are idiots. Get a job, all right? Get some faith. Go volunteer somewhere, you know, instead of sucking our tax dollars dry. That's another thing. The welfare state. Get rid of it. You can depend on others for that kind of thing. You know what I mean? You can depend on churches and believers and good, decent people to give you a hand up, not a handout. If you don't want to work for a living, well, I guess you're going to starve. Because it says in the Word that you need to work or you don't eat. It actually says that. And it might say that, and it actually says it in a few places, New Testament and Old Testament. If you don't actually physically work, labor, do something, you're going to die. You're going to starve to death. Okay? No one back then was getting a free handout from the government. No. They had to work. And if not, they went to their church to get help. I know this seems to be a scathing, brillianting kind of little thing here, but I'm just trying to tell you guys, enough's enough already. Enough's enough. We gotta like bolt this thing down because it is out of control. This is out of control. It has got to stop. This country is teetering right now. Average people are getting sick of these communist scumbags hanging down there at Occupy Wall Street, Occupy Denver and all that. You are a tiny fraction of the population. Everybody else works for a living. Yeah, we're busted and disgusted. We're sick of, dealing with the economy and the stress and all this crap. But everybody else is going to work or trying to find work, or they're doing something with their time other than sitting down there and defecating on sidewalks. Alright, so all I gotta say is pull your heads out of your rectal cavities and, join us in the real world. If not, the real world is gonna deal with you one way or another, okay? And as for these communists that want to take over the world and the country and everything like that, communism doesn't work. Alright? The good news is, I think our Lord and Savior's going to be coming back really soon. And when he does, communism, socialism, all that crap ain't going to exist anymore. It's going to be in the fiery pits of hell where it belongs. Instead, it'll be based on peace, love, harmony, and merit. You get what you put into it. But anyway, that's my news and commentary for this week. I'm sorry if it's a little scathing. What can I tell you? I mean, there's a lot of negative things going on in the world. But, all I can really tell you is it's going to get better. There's light at the end of the pit. There's light at the end of the table. You know why? Because it's just the way it is. So we'll be back with the last segment.